You are now live on Channel 8 and YouTube.
Thank you, Hannah. All right, the time is 4:30 p.m. on this 29th day of October 2025. I'm Chairman Justice Graves, and I call this meeting of the Capital Improvements Committee of Templeton to order. Please rise and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So with that, we have a quorum of our members in the room. We have Liz Toth, Candace Graves, Daniel Kirby, and myself, Justice Graves, all voting members of the committee. So that is more than a quorum of 3. We have 4 members. So with establishing that we have a quorum, the second item on our agenda is the review and approval of the meeting minutes. This afternoon, everybody got meeting minutes for September 17th and October 22nd. Do we want to take a moment and look at the minutes and have a discussion?
Feel free to suggest any corrections.
I guess I'll open it up to the committee members. Does anyone need more time to look at the minutes, or do we want to start discussing?
We can discuss.
We can start discussing. Okay. Who wants to lead off? I have no problem leading off if anybody else wants. Okay. So thank you for doing these, Liz. One thing that I will state is the list of documents, those look fine. One of the suggestions I would have on the list of documents for September 17th, it wasn't the full FY26 capital improvement plan that was in it. It was a separate sheet to just detail this special town meeting that we had in December of 2024, and then the annual town meeting of 2024.
Okay. All right, we'll make that adjustment. Just the special
Right on that.
town meeting and annual,
Mhm.
just for that one section.
I have other comments too on the September 17th minutes. So I'm an old school person, and I will just make it known for the record that all of these have AI assisted on them. And as soon as I opened them, I noticed that they were AI assisted,
Mhm.
which I know we're in 2025, and I recognize when things are AI assisted, and that's fine. Although, like I said, I am old school. I'm more of a more of a hands in it, flesh and blood kind of person with that. What I will say is I'm used to the minutes being more narrative, I guess I would say, such as, these are 3. All right, got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are 5 pages long,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of white space.
Mhm.
And the way that certain things are, I would state that it doesn't necessarily, some of it could be condensed. I mean, yes, we did election of officers by roll call, and noting who abstained and who didn't is fine. But when motions are unanimous, I mean, only that fact need be stated, and we're all in the room, and this is the Zoom. So that's one thing.
Okay.
I guess I'm just not used to seeing minutes in this type of a format like this, bulleted down like this and AI generated. So I'm just
It started with the egg, and it's AI assisted.
assisted. Yeah.
Okay, not generated. And the difference is I let AI go through. I did multiple different copies. I made edits to it that I felt were appropriate. I even took the transcript and went through and looked at the transcript, and then came up with this list. So saying it's AI assisted is not the same thing. Because what I did was I let it be known that that's what I started with, and then I went through and I made changes. So it is old school in one aspect,
Mhm.
And the other aspect is, because if you want completely old school, then we need to reorg, because I don't have time to go through and write every single thing down and every, it takes hours to do it that way. So AI, this is my efficient way. If you want me to put all the things on one line, a lot of it on one line, I can do that. It's the format.
Right.
As far as what we actually discussed, it's the highlighted in here as far as what we discussed. Because the actual transcript itself was, let's see, how many pages. The actual transcript from the meeting was 16 pages.
Oh, that's a lot.
That was 16 pages was the transcript.
Right, but it was an hour-long meeting
Yeah.
and we spoke for most of it. It was not just, quiet space, dead
Yeah.
space for most of it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I mean,
So no, it's fine. So you want me to condense it down? And, I explained how I started.
right. I guess it's hard for me to wrap my thoughts on some of my critiques that I would make on this. I mean, that's just a few of my observations. I'm gonna look towards the other committee members. Have any comments on it?
I'll just say, Mr. Chair. I'm sure it's one that you're just trying to be polite. It's what do you call these things? The little pin, the little.
Yeah.
Well, those don't really,
Yeah,
that's not really something that bothers me. I mean, that could be there.
it's not typically what we see in the town minutes.
Well,
Diverse words.
I'll counter that
I would just like to, yeah, if there's any retyping of anything, I mean, I can just go with it for now, but in the future, if we could not put that in, it'd be appreciative.
Okay, that's your thoughts on it,
Yeah,
Danielle.
that's my thoughts.
Do you have any comments?
Not really. I feel like as long as she stays consistent, we just have to adapt to it.
Right, all right. I have some more thoughts, but I'm looking at the time and I'm looking at our guests and I'm thinking maybe we read, because I haven't even talked about the October 22nd meeting. I know that I can speak on that. So why don't we, since we did get them this afternoon, and I know everybody said that they've had a chance to look at them, why don't we just push item number 2 down until right before committee member comments, and let's just go into the presentations so that we can proceed forward. Does everybody have a problem with that?
No.
No? Okay, let's do that. So for presentations today, we have Fire and EMS, Templeton Community Television, and Narragansett Regional School District. I am gonna look towards our fire chief first. Do you have any? Fire chief is on the list first. Does anybody in the room right now need to get out earlier this evening, or does anyone have a time commitment? I will let it be known for the record that Dr. Casavan is attending the meeting this evening. Anyone need to go before anybody else? Otherwise, I'm gonna have fire chief go first. Chief, if you want to come up. Like I said earlier to the committee, we don't have to necessarily shuffle questions through me as long as we're all orderly. So everyone just make sure you speak one at a time, and Chief Dickey, whenever you are ready.
Good afternoon, everybody. You do not have my full packets in front of you. As I had talked with Justice prior to this, I had some technology issues. I don't know if I downloaded the form correctly. I had troubles with the form. I've changed from a PC to a Mac. And I'm not having a very easy time with it. I do have some quotes for you here tonight that I want to hand out to you. The first item on my list tonight is cardiac monitors and MDs for the ambulance service. Even though the initial packet that went in, you all has 2 different forms, one for the monitors and one for the AEDs. They are all on one quote because I was working with my vendors right up until the last second, and I got my best quote only a couple days ago. day or so ago. Um, so both cardiac monitors and AEDs, defibrillators are required on the ambulances. Our current AEDs go back to about 2008, when the town bought them on a article at a town meeting. They're well past their, from what I'm told, just a couple of months ago, they're past their usable lifespan. They never gave us a lifespan on it before, but the company now has said that they're only good for 8 years, and you'll see back from about 2008, they are well past that. The cardiac monitors, I was just told we have agreements with them for warranty and service work and everything, and we had a problem with one of them this summer. And when the repair guy came to work on him, he says, "Oh, I can't work on this. It's too old. We can't fix them if I break them." And I had a long talk with our sales rep, and they admitted to screwing up and saying they never told us that this was coming up on us. So our cardiac monitors, which were purchased around 2012, 2013, only good for 8 years. We're past the life on them, and they can't be fixed anymore. Just finding this out again, the beginning of this fall. So I went and with the company that we had, there are 3 companies that make cardiac monitors for pre-hospital care. They used to be called Physio Control. They're now called Stryker. They have them. That is the brand we have right now of Physio. We have a LifePak 15. Their new model that is just out less than a year is the LifePak 35. We have, there's Zoll, and the new Zoll is called the Xenix. That one is just out as well. And then there is another company called Philips. Philips, I could not even get to come to Templeton to show us their monitor, let us touch it, play with it, and give me pricing. They didn't want to come in. Maybe they could schedule a Zoom, and they gave me one day gave me about 6 hours notice, and I just threw them out of the equation right away. So both Stryker and Zoll came in, showed our team the monitors, and their new monitors coming out, the LifePak 35 and the Zoll Xenix. They're both, they look very much the same. They do just about everything the same. One has a couple features the other doesn't have, vice versa. They're both approved by Department of Public Health, by OEMS. They have their FDA approvals for us to use. So I had them both come up with a bid on their newest equipment. And at that time, the packet in front of you, Zoll, came in at almost $13,000 cheaper than the Stryker. Stryker, as I said, they tell you that anything they do that has to do with patient care, so their AEDs and monitors have an 8-year shelf life. Anything that is with their patient transfer stuff has a 7-year life. And then after that, you can't get service contracts on them, and it gets harder for them to fix because they may or may not have parts for them after that time frame. Zoll, on the other hand, has military contracts, and they are actually contracted under the military that when they stop making a monitor for the military, they have to maintain parts for 10 years after that. And there's no troubles getting parts. So the Zoll monitor that is not the newest, the Xenix, but the one before it that they're still making, I could still get parts for that one for right now for 10 more years, for longer than Stryker would warranty their equipment. So for the lower quote by almost $13,000, and the fact that our monitors they don't see the use like a Boston EMS or Worcester EMS. Even though our monitors are so old now, they don't have a lot of use to it because we don't go out as often as those bigger bigger squads and everything. So the Zoll, where we'll be able to get more than 8 years out of it, even the end use, every year after year 8 is a savings compared to physio. So based on those, also Zoll is a Massachusetts company. They are out of, don't hold me to it, it's about out near Chelmsford someplace. Even if I have to, had a major repair needed and they couldn't get a service person out, I'm able to drive that to their facility where I can get a loaner model to use until the new one comes in. And that's only if they can't get me a service tech out the next day. So based on those, I'm looking at the Zoll monitor. So if you look at your quote, the quote in front of you is for 2 Zoll monitors, the things that they need so that we can do our job. It also has 2 defibrillators in it, AED defibrillators. The total cost for all of this is $129,102. I have also discussed with them the option for leasing, for at least a purchase. And we've been approved by them to break this down to a 2-year payment cycle. So if we were to go with this and order them, I can pay for it 0% interest over 2 years. I'm not looking at any taxation request for this. This can 100% come out of the EMS fund. I sat with the accountant yesterday going through our books, and even after the $450,000 we took out 2 years ago, I think it was, or a year and a half ago at town meeting for a new ambulance, which will be here next fall, I still have over $500,000 available, and that's still with money coming in this year as it comes in continuously. We get, I guess if last year we made about 600, just over 600,000. I don't see why it wouldn't be, in the high 5s to 6 again this year. So we are still making the money we need to sustain the ambulance and operate it, and we have the money to purchase this large equipment in our reserves. I would recommend the 2-year, since it is 0% interest. We're not going to gain any cost to it that way, and it reduces us in the 2 years we're purchasing it in case something else happens and we had a major breakdown or something that we had to buy some major piece of equipment. I think it makes more fiscal sense to do it that way. Any questions?
Couple of questions. First of all, financially, Zoll sounds like it's the right choice. Do the paramedics have any preference one way or the other?
So when I had both of them come in, I did not get every paramedic to look at both units. It was hard to. I have one paramedic that prefers Stryker physio.
Mhm.
I have 1 or 2 that prefer the Zoll, and I have a bunch of them that say, put a piece of equipment in front of me and I don't care what I use as long as it does the job. So I can say in this area departments in the past couple of years, you have Woods Ambulance that have changed from physio to Zoll. You have Winchton that has changed from physio to Zoll. Westminster is in the process of looking at them now. They are staying with physio/Stryker. When we were going out to do this, I had one of my members actually reach out to his counterparts, anyone he could talk to.
Mhm.
And there was no overwhelming consensus that said, you got to go with this one or this one. But I've had one fire captain in another community a little ways away from here that every time one of his brand new Stryker units has a problem, he is contacting us and saying, do not buy this, do not buy this. And I've actually had one company that had bought the new 35s and went back and bought brand new Life Pack 15s, the older version, just the newest version of the older version, because they couldn't do them. So,
Okay, and you're just replacing the two AEDs that are on the ambulances, right?
so at this time, yes.
Okay, what about, there are AEDs throughout the town.
Yes.
You know, the school has a number.
Well,
I
the school has a
believe-
mixed match. They used to have all physio. They bought others since then because they took even over their physios. We don't, we do not keep tabs of the schools anymore. They took over theirs. There's, Town Hall has one, the senior center has one, all the police cruisers that are on the street have them. The sewer department just purchased one. All of those are physio. And the game plan right now, because, so right now, the senior center, the police department, town hall, I have a service contract on all of those, and I'm not gonna be able to get renewed. There's nothing wrong with those anymore. I mean, they're still usable. There's not the technology in those that, like the cardiac monitors that say we should replace those right now. My game plan
Mhm.
would be, if we, if we do change to Zoll, then I would work with the Zoll rep, next capital season with, the town administrator, the board of selectmen, finance board and everybody, because I don't see that as strictly a fire department purchase. That is now a town purchase. And I would look at discussing where we should have them in town, and getting the best pricing possible for those to match. We're doing the two in the ambulances because it's pretty important that they match equipment. If we happen to not have paramedic service that day or for that call right there, and we have to grab an AED, but then we do get a paramedic coming in,
Mhm.
we don't have to change pads and everything, while we're right there. What it means out in the public is, sure, if we didn't have to change pads and we could just change the cable and put it on our monitor, that's better. But to have to take the extra 30 seconds to take the pads off the patient and put our pads on it, is not the end of the world at that point in time, hopefully.
Okay, so your game plan is get the ambulances taken care of this year. And then basically take a look at what the rest of the town has in the next cycle. And if I heard you correctly, you're saying that the AEDs that are out in the community, that are town-owned, controlled in the community can wait a year,
They could actually wait longer than that if
but
we
at least a
needed.
year.
But I would start looking at the plan to do that later, because I mean, if you look at that quote on the second page,
Yeah,
the AEDs on this are $3,000 each, so to round it up, $2,940.
Okay.
So,
right.
never mind what we have in the fire department, because under NFPA, all our fire engines have to have them
Mhm.
and so forth. I want to say we're talking 8 to 10 just in the fire department. Police have 3 or 4. We're talking, I think when we bought them originally in like 2008, I think we purchased 15 at that time, and we've had to purchase more since. So times $3,000 each, we're looking at quite a investment.
Right.
And I actually think we could start doing that in phases,
Mhm.
over a few years, unless the town became, had a good year or whatnot, and we got a good price by buying them in bulk, but,
Or grants or something
Yes.
to help us. Okay. And the only other thing about the striker is I know at one point you had striker, the beds that go in the things that go in the beds that go in the ambulance. Is that going to make any difference at all? I don't
for
think
the
so.
monitors, it doesn't. So yes, we have Stryker, stretchers. We
Mhm.
have Stryker stair chairs, and with the stretchers we have, it's a load system so that we don't have to pick the stretcher up and put it in the ambulance. And those things are on a 7-year cycle, and I'm looking at, we also have Lucas equipment, which is a CPR machine in
Mhm.
both, and those will be coming up shortly too. And to be honest, Zoll offers all that, Zoll offers their version of the CPR machine. And then there's at least one other company, Fernco, that does stretchers and stair chairs, and Stryker is still very good equipment. You know, I can't speak of the new cardiac monitor. It's their first shot at making it. That's not from Vizio.
Mhm.
But their stretchers are second to none. Their stair chair we use is fantastic. So
Is that in your I don't think.
I did not get a 5-year plan in, on this. I'm working with the, Stryker. Everything came, like I said, in the fall. I was not looking to replace any of this equipment because it's still in good operational. I feel I can get years out of it. And then I got it dropped on me that said, by the way, we're not going to be able to service this equipment much longer. And the stretchers and the Lucas both have like about 3 years left-ish. And where it got dropped on me so hard, I went right after the big equipment that was more important, to be honest.
Could you, would it be possible for you to put just estimates, what years out you think you're going to need it? Just rough, just so we can start planning. That the whole point of the 5-year thing is so we can start planning. And if this is stuff that you see coming down the pike, you know, and you can put an big asterisk going, best guess, this is, you know, just something so we know this is a $20,000 thing, or this is a $200,000 or something.
So,
That's-
well, I can tell you right off the top of my head, the stretchers were bought when we bought the last ambulance, that's a 2020. I have 2 more years on those,
Mhm.
the stretchers, the load systems, and the stair chairs. So I'm looking for, I would be looking in 2 years.
2 years.
Just to start that process. The Lucas, one of them is 2 years. No, I'm sorry, those were 8 years, so the stretchers and everything first is 3 years out. The Lucas CPR machines, one of them will be 2 years out, and the other one is a little newer, which would be 4 years out, off the top of my head.
Yeah, if we could just get, when you get to the opportunity, over the next couple of weeks, just roughly when you expect things. Just really rough numbers, nothing fancy.
I will definitely do that.
Thank you.
And Chief, if you want to just send that to me, the rough date I would say for that is we're gonna start discussing what our capital plan is on November 19th. So anytime before then would work for the committee. So that way we just have something to ballpark and understand where we're gonna start, just so that we now know through this presentation that we have to update things moving forward for your department. But at least then we kind of know generally what areas we're gonna be
Yep.
asked about.
5-year plan, I mean, it's a fantastic model. For me, it's difficult. We bought our fire engine, the last fire engine, in 2019. It was, top of my head, around $450,000 we budgeted for it. That bought the truck and a lot of equipment. That truck, just a truck, if I were to replace that right now, is over $800,000. So for me to give any, so I can tell you when we need to replace that major equipment, but to give you any sort of financial information, it's
How
Horrible.
how about this? If you put down, I'm gonna need to replace this truck here, the price in 2019, 2020 was, so at least we've got someplace to start, you know, because you may be, and you're right, the prices are changing so much, but you know, we need to know if it's this big or this big.
I mean, I can tell you when it comes to fire trucks, you know, we just got the tanker. And when Carter was the TA and we got that first engine, his plan was as soon as the engine's done, we buy the next piece. Well, we did that, we got the tanker truck. The tanker truck is a 6-year lease. We just paid year 2 on it, so I have 4 more years on it. Would be thinking, so in 4 years, we'd like to have another one, so that's right at just before your 5-year mark you're looking at. When the tanker came, I informed the salesman and their engineering department that I wanted to start looking at speccing out a new engine and a new ladder. Cause I want to bring
Mhm.
options to the town, cause we're gonna need both by that time, time frame. So that's something we're getting set to start at. And I can put an approximate on both of those of today's dollars. But I will.
And it's rough and put a really big asterisk next to it,
I-
that just makes it quite.
I have a spreadsheet up until that's current as of last year, that with the year of all my equipment and what the costs were, so I can update that pretty easily. Okay, that's.
Thank you.
That would work, and even if, and this is just my thoughts, if the price of certain items is too volatile to even put an estimate or even thinking that a current amount would be appropriate, just put that, because then at least we know that item's coming down the pike, and that.
Yeah, I can put, like, I'll go to I'll hit my salesman up, especially for the ladder and engine, and say, well, for the engine I did, I says, hey, when you dropped off the tanker, I says, what do I gotta do if I replace that? And he says, oh, we've got one, a spec truck, right, that they're doing to show people and everything. Goes, that one's 800 and whatever he gave me. So I know that
Mhm.
cost right now. So,
Yeah.
and we talked ladder, but he laughed when I asked if he, could estimate it. And I'll just hit him up a little harder for that,
And,
for today's dollars.
and it's, I don't know what the build time is on them. I'm sure it's horrendous.
Everything is like 2 to 3 years right now. The ambulance, when I ordered it, I was able to sneak in one in under 18 months because the salesman had the foresight. They ordered a dozen chassis
Mhm.
before everything hit bad. So we just picked one of their chassis in a pretty stock box that matches what we needed and got in the lineup. So we were able to save about
Mhm.
a good year off of the delivery date because of that. So.
Thank you.
Any more questions from anyone about the AEDs or the cardiac monitors? Nope. Okay. So-
I only have one other item. I think you have that sheet.
Yeah.
I do not have any. So my other item is a fire station study. I do not have any estimates with me, and I just have a little bit of information for you all. So I asked for $80,000, and I talked to a few fire chiefs that have gone through the process and everything, and one of them is Chief Smith over in Winchington. And a couple of years ago, they did $70,000. They budgeted. They did an RFP out there to get it going, and they were able to do their study for 70,000 or less. So with a little bit of inflation over a couple of years, I decided to ask for 80,000 as a cap to try for a fire station study. And what we're looking at, and it came up in Monday's select board meeting. Our fire station is on one side of town. We're in Baldwinville. We can't meet NFPA guidelines to get to certain sections of town. So for NFPA, they set some guidelines for EMS response and for fire response. We're supposed to have 1 minute from the time we get toned to get in the truck. That's if it's nighttime, get dressed, whatever, daytime, get up, go. From the station in Baldwinville, that was not built to be a fire station. It was actually built to be a luncheon with apartments above it, Mary's Lunch back in the day. To get up from the second floor there, to go down 2 flights of stairs through the basement and garage, outside, to get to the back garage where the main apparatus are kept. I walked it today. It took me 1 minute and 1 minute, 21 seconds to walk from the bedroom and get to touch the ambulance and say, I'm here so I can drive away. We then have we're supposed to, under NFPA, have another 8 minutes to get to anywhere in town within 90% of the time for a 9-minute total for an ambulance call. GPS from Baldwinville Fire Station to the Rotary here in East Templeton was 8 minutes. The 1 minute to get dressed is 9 minutes. That doesn't take me down North Main Street, down Shady Lane. It doesn't get me up Gray Road, down Dudley Road, all these other areas in town. The response time there, 12 minutes, 14 minutes. We are well out of the NFPA recommendation, and never mind recommendation, well out of side of what the citizens of Templeton deserve for time to get an ambulance there. You want to talk about fire response to those times? cut that in half. I'm supposed to have a fire truck there within 4 minutes. If we really wanted to talk about meeting the NFPA standard, we would actually be talking about a second fire station on the other side of town, either East Templeton or Templeton Center, away from Baldwinville, that would be staffed as well. That would cover and help us cover and get those initial pieces to that side of town faster. That would require a full station manning of, we've got 6 guys on now, that would be a minimum of 6 guys over there as well, 2 per shift, which still doesn't bring us to the NFPA number of people, responders on the trucks that are needed. A centralized fire station somewhere. The Templeton Highway Barn is very close to being the central portion of town. So somewhere in that Baldwinville Road area, there are some portions that we could probably not meet in the NFPA required time. But it brings us closer. It definitely does. A modern station brings the responders closer to the equipment, cutting the time down in the station to get there. That 1 minute and 21 seconds today, you saw what the weather was today. It wasn't raining outside. I didn't have ice on the ground. It wasn't snowing, making it more difficult for my personnel to get from one building to another just to get there safely. The building was not built to be a fire station. Like I said, it was built to be a cafe and apartment complex. It then went to become the light department. After the light department, the fire department moved into the basement and some town offices moved onto the 1st and 2nd floor. Since then, the fire department has taken over the entire building. There is nothing NFPA about that building. We're seeing structural needs. Highway is in there. We've had to do repointing of the brick so that we couldn't have water in the building. We have a sewer smell in the basement that we're continually fighting. Highway department knows about it. I work with Bob. We can never find anything wrong, but there is that smell. We're down there constantly. We've tried RV radiated fluid in the drains. That's, drain safe to try to keep the odors out. It comes back. We're having, the garage that's on the front building itself. If I wanted to put an ambulance over there, it gives me about a 1-inch play on the mirrors on each side. I would be replacing $1,000 mirrors probably every month. And if I wanted to extend the size of those doors, how much money are we talking on putting into a building that is in a floodplain? I have a pin in my parking lot that is probably about 5 or 6 feet from the back building of where the flood of 1938, I think it was, the water came up to. We were in a floodplain. A new building would be expensive, but there's future means that they're working at the state level to help pay for that. They're working on a way to have a fund available, just like the schools have a fund to help pay for them. But those communities that have a set of drawings ready to go will be the first ones chosen if that ever comes to fruition. A study to see if there's land available someplace centrally located and how much it would cost in getting us to that point is the first step in this. It really is. And I asked for it about 3 years ago. I didn't put in for it. Well, 2 years ago, I didn't put in for it last year. I'm putting in for it again this year. I think it's very important. Money's tight in town, but I really have to fight for the citizens of town and what they deserve from the fire department and what my responders deserve for a station to be able to provide those services.
If there was, there was a study that was done 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
2020, there was a study done by CBJ or CBR or something. And in that study was done to see if Templeton, Phillips, and fire departments were enough alike to help try to share services. And in that study, it stated that our building was in horrible shape, in need of replacement, was not built to be a fire station. our other station up in Templeton Center, we really don't have enough land to even add on to it if we wanted to put sleeping quarters or anything like that on. We'd have to go for variances. We're too close to all the borders and everything.
Yeah, because that's the only other place. It's like when you were talking about timing, I know it's at least 14 minutes between the
My
Baldenville and to my house.
My union also did a study, and that one was just this past year.
Mhm.
In their study found, they actually the union did a study on the stations and on manpower and everything, and their study states the same thing. The buildings aren't meant to be a fire station. The property card for Two School Street, all it shows is the sale date of January 17th, 1961. That's not a build date. That's probably the closest the department could find in any records of when it got sold to the town or something. And even if it is a build date from that time, it's still that's 1961.
Yeah. I don't think anybody can argue that, the building as is not what is needed for the department. It's the question of one location versus two locations, where you can get the land, what you can do. Does it include, is it just a fire station, or, does it include any of the other, town departments or not? And that's, a select board decision.
Correct.
Yeah.
I would really like to see emergency management included in it. They're also in the floodplain in a very old building. Heck, if the light department didn't move out of our building, what we have now to where they are now, I'd probably still be where the emergency management is right now. But we work very well with emergency management. We tie together very well. And I really think if you're talking millions of dollars to build a fire station, what's a extra couple of garage bays and a couple of offices?
Mhm.
There's the area to share training rooms, and so forth, bathrooms, a couple extra offices. I think it would just be a very smart move. I really do. And I haven't even talked that over with Rich yet, but I think he'd be tickled pink to be included in it. So.
Thank you.
Does anybody else on the committee have any questions?
So,
Danielle? No? Okay, I don't have any questions. I mean, I heard the presentation about the fire station. This isn't, like you said, this isn't the first time that this has come up, and it's not the first time that you presented it, so.
And it will come up every year from now on. I didn't bring it up last year out of frustration and knowing there was not much capital money, if any capital money. And that was a mistake on my part. And there's a past member that had been on this committee before and everything, Noel Francis, and I sat down and talked with him one day, and he's like, "No, chief, it doesn't matter if there's a penny to be given out. You need to bring that to the board every year." And so I apologize for my mistake on that last year. And whoever sits in your seats for years to come, and if I'm in this seat, it'll be seen every year from now on until we can do something about it.
has to come in if you want to go for grants or anything like that. This is the first stop in the first phase of even getting grants or anything.
Correct.
Yeah.
And when it comes to my cardiac monitors, gosh, I wish my manufacturers, my salesman would have given me like 2 months notice before, because I could have got it to you here tonight and still had a spot on fall town meeting to try to get it done. But now we're gonna have to wait till spring, and hopefully everything goes well with our monitors. But it's one step at a time. And
Any other questions, last call? No, all right, well, thank you, chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will have updated five minutes to you next week.
Okay, this is the plan.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, you too.
So the next department on our list is a presentation from Templeton Community Television. So Steve, if you would like to come up? Sure.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Next week it'll be evening, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to let you know there's several things here, but some of them are kind of what ifs. And I wasn't sure if you wanted things, and there's things that I hope we don't have to ever get. But they're there because I think that you want to know how we're going to replace things if we need to. So on your first page, you can see the capital that we have this year that's going to be available through the light department pilot. We have not spent a cent of that yet, but I will get in touch with Mr. Driscoll and start making plans for that. I hope to keep about 30,000 in abeyance for most of the year in case we need an emergency replacement of something, and I'll get to that in a little bit. So yes, department heads do hold on to money until the end of the year in case we need it. So I know that question's been asked in other committees. And the capital request for FY26 and the updates, I'm proud to say that a 3-camera switcher system, which I had on here for years at 15,000, is no longer needed. Our friends at Wachusett Business Incubator bought us, and some of you might be amazed, some might not, that in technology, things can be very expensive for a while and then be completely commoditized, like 3-camera switchers because of podcasting. So what used to cost at least $11,000, you can now get for a few $100. I don't know if you're going to get the performance that you would have gotten out of the big system, but we don't need that. And I will go right into the capital request for this year. So we usually, in our capital budget, have a $10,000 line item for miscellaneous equipment. And this is a question for you. Should I even be bringing this to you? Because it's one line item, but it could be tripods, computers, camera accessories, and things like that. That meeting computer there is going to need replacing before it won't be able to take another operating system upgrade. It'll still work, but it will take another operating system upgrade. So, that's going on 10 years old. I tend to buy the little Mac minis, the little square silver box there now. But anyways, do you want me to bring this every year as a 10,000? It's kind of a bucket within a bucket.
I mean, we've talked about the committee requirements, I think, for the last 2 meetings now, and I mean, anybody can jump out and say anything if I'm wrong, but if it's, if you were buying $10,000 worth of, or 10,000 or more worth of, just Mac minis, then yes, it should come in front of this committee if you're doing that within a fiscal year. But if we're talking about miscellaneous machines or equipments, if you need to buy a new camera, or if you need to buy new cables, all of those individual purchases are under $10,000. The items themselves are not in bulk. So I don't think you can always have it on there just to let us know what's going on in terms of, where you're at with your enterprise funds and what you'd have, because ultimately you would still have to, use your funding for that. But if you didn't include it on the capital report, it wouldn't be, in my interpretation, an issue with this committee. Same interpretation.
Okay.
Yeah, just looking for 10,000 or something that combines into 10,000 of the same item, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I just did it because it's always been a line item. It used to be 15, but I've allocated some of that money to supplies in the general budget. Okay, I'll move on. The next thing is roadside digital signage, and this is something that was discussed when we had an economic development committee, and we did actually do an RFP or an RFQ and awarded a bid to a local sign company for $40,000, I believe. And I didn't include the quote in your packet, but I just emailed Justice before the
Yes.
meeting.
Now
Oh,
that
thank you, Justice. You're on the ball.
I did see that come in,
Yeah.
but I did make.
This is the quote that was submitted to the Economic Development Committee for the digital sign. And we had planned to possibly do it right out front. We're gonna place the sign out in front of this building. You get 8,000 cars pass here a day, I believe. And I think it would be a nice look for the town, a nice modern and professional look to have a digital sign out there. And it would allow us to obviously tout town events and things of that nature, or deadlines like taxes due, or dog licenses are due, and also provide a place to put branded advertising and sell it. And that could be a very important revenue stream for the cable department and TCTV, as I think some of you know that we're in deep financial trouble and we need to find sustainable revenue streams. And that can be a big part of the plan. So I put it on for 50,000 for FY27. I skipped FY28 because my plan would be to get good at having one sign and figure out if you can make money on it, and then do another sign, maybe Baldwinville. We talked about the little common in front of Cumbies as a good spot, and also, if it's at all possible, Route 2A at the Phillipston line. I was hoping U-Haul would go in there, and I wanted to sell them a tower sign you could see from the highway. And I don't think we have any land over there to do it, but anyways, 3 signs you could make. If you made $5,000 a month on advertising, you can make $180,000 a year on signage. I don't know if it'll work. It could be a complete bust, but you start with one and you see what it is. And if it's a bust on selling advertising, at least you have a nice a sign for your town out in front of the building. So that would be the plan. And there's $200,000, I believe, in an economic development grant. I'm not sure what they called it. That has to be spent by FY26.
Does anybody know, do we physically have that money, or where's that? Like, how do you get that money if we don't?
That's a good question.
That's an awesome question. I had asked, I never got an answer.
I haven't seen it on any BVA's.
I did a
So I
mad
figured-
scramble last December to get all this together because we thought that the deadline to contract that would have been last December 31st. And it turned out that was the state deadline to get us the money, or to award us the money. So they said, okay, you're off the hook for a little while. And then we went and blew up the EDIC. So
What was
I
the
felt
name-
like
What was the name of the grant?
it was from Economic Development, and Ann Golby had arranged it.
If I remember correctly, Danielle, it was a state earmark. It was in one of the appropriations bills that they did, if I remember correctly.
But I believe it's supposed to be spent or contracted by the end of calendar year 26.
Yeah, I don't know the states, or I just remember that it was in one of the appropriations bills. There's a separate, I forget how it works, but when there are earmarks, it's a separate department of the state that handles when that money needs to be distributed. But that's a good question for town administrators.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for James, can that be something that you, like, try to make a meeting or something to talk to him about, to go look into, to find out where it is?
Yeah.
That'd be helpful.
Mhm.
I did send a thing about signs to them, cause I was working on something unrelated, and I didn't even read my packet yet today. And, talking about having, a digital sign in Baldwinville and in front of this building. So, cause it came up like, we're carting signs to go here, and then he says, this one's on it and that one's requested it. But if we had a sign here, and we had a sign in Baldwinville, cause I don't know what town it is, I don't know if it's Holden or Rutland or something. At one point, they put a giant one, like in a central, it's almost like near McDonald's, but central area. And when you drive through, like, everybody in the area that's in that town gets to know what's going on. And I really think we should have it, but the way our traffic is, if at least having one here in the center of Baldwinville would be a good idea on how we could get that accomplished. The school has one, and they're pretty good about if we have something on one of our different things that they can put in for it, and a lot of times they'll put something up for a group or somebody, but it would be nice to have the town hall have one. That way they can communicate tax bills, like you said. But I know a lot of schools too did, businesses or something, donated them, or like you see like a business like logo or something, like, or maybe that's scoreboards or something. So I don't know.
I don't
if
know.
that's
I haven't.
Something that can happen.
I think
know
Hubbardston got
it's
theirs
specific.
on a grant. I don't know if that was Compact IQ, Compact or IT Compact grant.
Actually, I have a great question for our other person who's in the audience, because I remember something in the paper at some point. Dr. Casavan, if you're tuned in, wasn't there a donation for the one in front of the middle and high school for that electronic sign that had come through? I think a bank had done it.
Yes, there were several. Each class donated, I believe it was from the class of 17 on to, I believe, 20. And Athol Savings Bank, that the branch that was here, donated the final amount.
Okay, thank you. So that's just, I just happened to remember that and we had it here, so I figured, why not?
We would seek that as well.
But that'd be something.
Yeah,
again.
but I do know there's money in it.
All that,
Supposed to be money in an economic development grant of some sort.
I think that'd be a good thing to talk for you to talk to James about.
Will do. Okay.
Funds need to be secured.
See if that even exists or how to get it.
Okay.
That'd be helpful.
Want to talk about the next one?
Yes, please.
All right, the next one would be for our TV server replacement. And this is basically a big honking computer that runs video 24/7. So it needs to be pretty powerful and it does a lot of work. And we bought our new one in 2000. I would normally put these on an 8 to 10 year life cycle and say, okay, by year 8, you ought to have it. But I also think, well, what if it blows up now, right? What are we going to, and this is where I'm going to try to keep $30,000 safe in our capital for a while. And so I did have our TV server company Castus requote what they quoted. The hardware alone is $28,000. You see my notes below. $6,000 if we need an installation. We may be able to handle it itself. I also put in this could be done separately, but if we wanted to duplicate channel 8 on streaming services like Roku, Apple Fire, etc., we can do that for $6,000 through them. I'm not sold on that because there are so many streaming services, and why would anyone go to a streaming service to watch TCTV? I mean, you go to YouTube, but I don't see the point yet.
I don't have to.
And you need to add 20% for tech incidentals. When we purchased the one that we have now, and this would just be a replacement with the same model, it was about 33 total. So I would figure about 34 now, and that seems about right. And we had allocated 60,000 for it. And it wasn't that, hey, we got a great bargain, but 15,000 we decided not to spend on what's called a video on demand server because we have YouTube. And they would make you buy a $15,000 piece of hardware and then give you a templated website that's ugly, doesn't work that well. And it's kind of set it and forget it for a lot of TV stations, but we decided, let's do something different. And that's why we decided to do the Montechusett.tv website and try to actually create revenue streams for us. So we already have a video on demand channel in YouTube. So that's why, we kind of budget these things conservatively. Okay, what if we wanted to add that? And then we didn't. So it wasn't like I was a great hero to bring it in at 33. Just didn't buy the add-ons. So anyways, if I had the money, I would put it in at $50,000 this year and then not get it until it breaks, or it's like a car that, you know when it's about to go, and put it on the next year and keep it on there until you need it. So hopefully we don't need it until 28, 29, 30, but you never know with these things. And ours crashes about every month, so I don't mind having to reset it, reboot it every month as long as it behaves in other ways. We'll see. The last one we had 10 or 12 years, but at the end we were running 2 computers to run it, one running different versions of Windows because it would only run half on Windows 10 and half on Windows 11. And it was a bear. So that's when it's time to replace as well. So I hope that makes sense on that. I can go to the next one. Is more of a want, and that would be a shoulder mounted camera and a stabilizer. You may see people on TV, especially sports or anything, going around with a camera they're holding up like this, and you can get in tighter with things. They can be expensive. I've seen some $20,000 without the lens. That's just the body. So, we're kind of looking at, I think we could get probably what we wanted in $7,000. And then you have lenses and accessories. It could cost as much as 15. Again, it's a want. We don't necessarily need that right now. If we can squeeze it in under 10,000 this year and we save money in some other ways, maybe we'll spring for it. But again, I'd probably rather spend the money elsewhere. And I can move on to the next one. It's out of order, but this is, and I've put this conference room on possible upgrades before. I certainly don't want to do it, but again, this is one of the what ifs that I think you may want to know about. In the past, when we ran and other cable access stations ran meetings via an expensive camera switcher that's in the closet like we used to run, and the cameras on the walls, you know, this room cost 30,000 or more than 30,000 when we did it in 2015. And now it would cost, you know, to have that kind of system, I wouldn't blanch at 50 to 80,000. And some towns will do that and just switch it all over. I'm not proposing that because I like using $1,000 meeting owl system and feeling like I'm in the front row when I'm watching it. But what if everything fails catastrophically in this room at the same time and we have to replace it all? And I value everything piecemeal, even at about 11,500. So I'm not really asking for this, but I just want you to know that that's about what it would cost to duplicate what we have right here if we had to get everything brand new.
If we wanted, oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, how old is what we have right now?
It varies. That, like I said, that TCTV computer, that needs to be phased out. We have a few meeting owls.
What's the oldest meeting owl you
2000? No, 2020, sorry. It didn't exist then.
have? If you knew.
These mics are probably the oldest things we have, and the bases are, you know, going, but I'm gonna, you know, like, I believe in running my cars into the ground, you know, I'm gonna run them into the ground. They still work, right? This thing's breaking off, right? I don't care. They still work. And the company that makes these, Shure, has a nearly identical model. So if one of them failed, we could probably replace it. But what if it fails and it's just not a good audio match for it? Then we have to consider replacing the set. But I would replace things piecemeal here as long as you can. We need another meeting owl, $1,000. We need new microphones, $1,000, $1,500. The big piece is the mic mixer in the closet because everything runs through that and then back over here. And but that's still only $1,500. Video monitors, that's an overkill, and those cost $3,000. And mainly because I wanted non-glare. You don't want to have a lot of glare on those in here. And the cabling accessories, $1,000, you know, computer, $2,000. I would replace them piecemeal. There are systems like Shure and Sennheiser make conference room systems, and they cost about $8,000 to $12,000. I don't think we need it.
Seem to be working. Just for instance, if with the idea that maybe more and more of the meetings are going to be recorded, can this same setup, assuming we had a spot for it, a room for it, a dedicated room for it, would that still be about 11 grand, or would it be significantly more because some of the infrastructure is not in place?
All you'd have to, if you had to duplicate everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably about 11 grand. I mean, we could, 10 grand, we can ship a meeting owl over. We have other microphones. You can have desktop mic stands like you have a town meeting. I mean, that could work. These are a little bit better. And, you know, this room, when we did it in 2020, cost 5,000. But again, the mics were in place. The mic mixer was in place. Your cables were in place. We replaced the cables last year because they were getting interference from MassDOT's remote controlled digger. And I had to buy shielded cabling, and that was, I think, over $500, maybe up much as $800. So those mic cables behind you all had to be replaced.
I was just thinking if you had to run two different, like this building, there's a lot of meetings that go on at the senior center and having a setup down there so that you
Yeah,
can run another meeting.
I would
down
hope
here
to do it on,
simultaneously.
I'd hope to do it on
Or have
5,000.
them able to press a button and record their meeting, then you could go and pick up the card or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm in the mood to do it frugally. So
Thank you.
I hope that helps. So I hope this piece is just informative. I wouldn't expect you to put it on the capital plan. And the other piece was taken out of order would be cloud storage and a possible TCTV app that we've discussed with our TV server company Castus. To do the app, you have to have cloud storage. There are quotes in the back of your packet on that. They estimated for what we do now with the meetings and the videos to put everything in cloud storage, to put it on an app would be $4,000. They're taking a guess. And you can also, they're taking a guess because we could go above that and pay more. So I think it's going to cost more. And then if you want it, if we did all the meetings, double it, right? So now you're into 8 or 10 at least. And I just put 15 on it if we had to do that. And hopefully we don't have to do closed captioning on the TV channel itself, because then you have to do it, which would be a bear.
Is this a want or a need or a,
It's, I hope I don't need it. Yeah, right now, it's not a want because we're not sold on the app and we're actually talking to other app developers. But it could be, we might double back and say, okay, this is the best choice to do this. But I frankly don't want to be spending 10 to 15,000 on cloud storage.
Yeah.
So if we can avoid it at all costs. As long as just an expression, doesn't go over that, you know, that would be the thing. And the next one is public Wi-Fi in 4 locations for the commons and the parks. This originally came up with a grant that was going to be available until it got pulled back with all the cutbacks. I think it was called Launchpad, and MRPC picked my brain for half a day about it. And they wanted to be able to make public Wi-Fi available at things like commons, like Templeton Center Common, Baldwinville Common. And okay, every municipality can have 2. Great. We'll price it out. Well, how much do you think? I think we can get each done, you know, at least the hardware under $10,000. Well, they said the state was valuing each location at $50,000. And I don't know if that included your service on it. Maybe it did, but I get the feeling that we ran into the consultant economy there. We can do it a lot cheaper than that, I think, but I don't know how much the, you know, Comcast is going to charge to get internet into those spaces. And then what happened was right at the end of the digital equity saga to get that grant, Rec had asked about security cameras at Gilman Waite. And we said, okay, well, let's try to get you Wi-Fi in there. And obviously, I think Houghton Park could use cameras as well. So I have a call into Comcast. They do have a municipal thing. And I said, I'm looking for public Wi-Fi in 4 locations. And hopefully they'll give me a quote. And I'm sorry, I don't have that information for you yet. So this is still in the exploratory stages, but I do think I would prioritize doing Wi-Fi at Gilman Waite and Houghton Park to try to get cameras there, so Parks and Rec can keep an eye on things. And I don't necessarily think that should be a TCTV budget thing. I'm certain I will talk to Parks and Rec about it too. We were looking at this as possibly, hey, maybe this is something that, let's say someone's at Gilman Waite watching a soccer game or a softball game, and okay, I want to hop on Wi-Fi. Maybe that's a chance to sell a TCTV membership to do it. But I'm kind of cooling on that because I don't see someone paying $75 or $100 to do that, you know?
Yeah.
But maybe it's an add-on to that. Maybe it's something that can be sponsored by a company. I don't know. So let's explore it more and see where it goes. So could be coming down the pike.
probably more
that-
feasible for like school games. I don't know what they do, if they have any, if they tape any of the soccer games that are down there.
I
But
think,
they're trying to move everything down to the school anyway, which I believe that they are recording on their own at the school,
yeah,
with their own system.
and I think the biggest expense in all of this will be, the internet service.
Yeah.
Which should come with its own security, and that should be pretty robust as well. So I will, try to keep you posted if I get any quotes from Comcast on that. And the last thing I should warn you, or it involves a residence that I believe two of you reside at.
Okay. So, okay, so if it's those streets that we're a part of, then I will, for full disclosure, I live at Queen Lake Road, and that's one of the 4 residences. It's the 2 streets, right? It's Queen Lake Road and.
Yeah, and Henshaw, and a portion of Henshaw Road.
Portion of Henshaw Road. Okay, so I'm going to recuse myself, and I'll just sit in the audience during this portion, while Steve does.
Okay. And this is not something that I advocate taking
As
out of
well.
capital, and TCTV obviously doesn't have the capital for it. But I wanted to put it here in case the town wants to pay it. I've been trying to get it to be funded through grants, and Mass Broadband and Mass Tech have hundreds of millions of dollars going out to Comcast and the like to try to fill these gaps where people don't have broadband access. And, these houses have been on our list for years now. And I actually wanted to pay for it out of the ARPA monies that we had. And I was told, hold on, there's going to be grants available. Well, Comcast has quoted us 23,000 a few years ago. That's why I put this in for 30 to run cable past these houses. And then they were deemed ineligible for grant money because Xfinity, which is Comcast, rebutted it and said that they have broadband. I have a question into both of these parties and have yet to receive an answer. And I have been asking for legal advice on this.
Yeah, I thought the digital equity grant and everything. Was it just to survey, or was it because my memory could be completely off here?
Right, it's very confusing.
I thought they said that the equity grant would pay to put in the service in these locations, and I think
There are
I-
several digital equity
okay,
initiatives. The digital equity grant that we're getting for $70,000 can't be used for any infrastructure. So that's going to be used for
Mm.
Wi-Fi upgrades here, senior center, library, and loan out equipment like Chromebooks and laptops to people who need hotspots, to people who need broadband. We don't know the need for that. And, there are numerous other grants being made available to ISPs, internet service providers like Comcast and the like, to try to fill these gaps. That's what we've been going after with that, but they've been deemed ineligible with false data.
yeah.
And what you may have heard me complaining about too is with the digital equity thing, they've identified, oh, you have 40 buildings in town that need digital equity. They're barns and outbuildings. They're filled with tractors sinking into the mud and goats. So they're denying 4 residences digital equity and wanting me to get goats and tractors digital equity, which is kind of silly. And, we were able to, one of the gentlemen that works on our cable advisory committee is an IT professional. And I said, hey, there's at least a spreadsheet and I can't read it. It's just all numbers and its locations. Can you go through it? And he was able to identify the coordinates of all these places that they say, okay, this is this street in Baldwinville needs better access, or this street doesn't. And we're finding that the data is kind of suspect. And I have notified Mass Broadband on this, and it's crickets.
Yeah, because there's a friend of ours that lives on Berry Road, that her house is up at the top of the hill. And she had a really hard time throughout COVID with her kids trying to do schoolwork. I don't think she ever came up with a really great solution beyond the hotspot.
Yeah.
which really, of course, is exceptionally expensive.
Yeah, and yeah, see, I can't, if that's a driveway off of Barry Road, I can't do much about that. I can't do anything about private roads, like I think Skunk's Misery Road is a private road. And there are a few others, but you know, if I can get cable past it on the public way,
That's a start.
yeah. And these are the only 4 houses that I know of after years of doing this.
Yeah, okay.
That, you know, would qualify for it. So, I'm, you know, letting Mr. Or James, I can't, James Ryan, I'm letting Mr. Ryan kind of settle in before he deals with me ranting about legal issues. But I will be talking with him about that as well. But again, I'm only putting this if the town, if this is the last resort and the town wants to somehow fund it. Here it is. And we have never funded anything out of cable department capital for it. I don't recommend it, because then you're setting a precedent, and then somebody else builds a house at the edge of town that doesn't have it, and now what do you gotta do, you know? But
It's there.
maybe we can press them somehow to make these residences eligible under some grant money that's still available. That's my thinking.
Thank you.
Oh, we did see. Okay.
I think that's it, and you see the quotes in the back. And if you have any questions, glad Justice gave you the digital signage quote as well.
Any more questions on anything that Steve has presented this evening? Liz? No, okay. Sorry. Danielle?
Right.
Candace? No. Okay, I don't have any questions, Steve. Thank you for your presentation this evening.
You're welcome. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you for the work you do.
Right, with that, we'll go to last but certainly not least, Dr. Casavant, if you want to start your presentation for the school district.
Thank you very much. The requests that we have should not, they shouldn't surprise anybody. We've presented these before. But what I'll start with is the upgrade playground surface at Templeton Elementary School. I don't know if folks have been over there to look, but the both playgrounds, both the pre-K playground and the main playground, have a matting. So it's a soft landing in essence, and it does not hold up to the wear and tear that it gets. Now, obviously, kids are in school 180 days. There are 5 grades there. They go outside, you know, so, and they're on the playground. But also that area is being used every day of the week. We know this because obviously we have the cameras, and but the playground for certainly in front of TES is used almost year round. I'll just say it that way. I'm sure that during the blizzards it's not, but certainly during the warm months it's used. The grassy area along South Road, and it doesn't take a lot to see this, but it's so worn down that it's impossible to grow grass. We've tried, you know, we've replanted, we've done all of those things, but you have roughly 500-600 kids, you know, playing on it 180 days. I don't think much would survive that. And it's getting to the point where the sprinkler heads, and these are big sprinkler boxes, are protruding from the ground. And so the new surface, you know, would make the whole area more accessible to everyone, and of course, a lot safer. It's well documented. There isn't a lot of space at TES, especially when you talk about recess. But those are the two primary areas are in front of the building, and of course, the pre-K playground is around back. We estimate the project cost to be around $74,000. Obviously, we would have to go out and get some more quotes on that, just given the extent of the project, and just of course with the sheer amount that it would cost. But again, there has been some ideas floated out there. You know, people have asked us about grants, etc. There's not really a lot. We have looked. There's not a lot for play areas or play space on school grounds. But we are, we are looking at some other avenues to see, the PTO is approached us as to the wear and tear of both locations. So, yeah. So as we move forward, that's something, and we have fixed the playground surface before this. Yeah, we've repaired it, not replaced it. Pardon me. We've repaired it. At least on 3 occasions, because kids pick at it or it just wears away. So, again, we're just trying to make sure that, the money that was invested in the school, and it's in the area itself is, kept up to par. The next is what, if you asked me to rate them,
Dr. Cazavan.
obviously the most important one. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I hate to interrupt, but we do have a question from.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hi, so the school's 6 years old.
Yep.
Right, and you've already had to repair some stuff multiple times in some sections of it.
Mhm.
And going into the building of the school and the design of the school, that should have, with the number of students, that should have all have been taken into account. I'm looking at this going, this is a design failure
Mhm.
with the build of the school. Because all of this was already known, none of this has changed. So
Mhm.
why are we coming back at 6 years? I understand that there's a failure of the material,
Mhm.
but have you gone and talked to the designer or the manufacturer or anybody else in the whole process to say, hey, 6 years, this isn't reasonable?
It had a 1-year warranty, and they did come out during that time in the very first year to make the fixes that it needed to make. And so, that was the warranty on that surface, and we went through the OPM at the time. Now this is back, but we went through them because anything that was needed to be fixed or something was not going right, that's what we went through. And also the grassy area that we were just talking about, it was supposed to be, lack of a better word, turf. I don't know if folks remember this part of the conversation. It was going to be expensive. And that was cut very early on in the project. It went with grass, obviously, because it's less expensive. Of course, given what we know now, the turf would probably have lasted longer. I think that it still would need to be repaired or upkeep, etc. But it called for turf, but we went with grass in the play area. So but we went again, going back to the surface of the playground, the rubbery surface, we did go through the OPM and actually because of COVID and everything, it was a little bit past the year, but they came in and honored the warranty and did a number of fixes on both playgrounds.
Okay, but you would expect something to last longer than a year or 2 years for this. I mean, it is what it is, but it's just like, it just seems to me as a layperson, 6 years on everything that was known, the design for that play area wasn't sufficient. It didn't take into account everything it should have, just.
And I wouldn't disagree. I think that in the grand scheme of things, the playing field, which was supposed to be turf, would have taken a lot more action off of the playgrounds. And so I think that with it being just the way it is now, kids I'll use the word they still play on that area, but I think kids are now more forced to use the playground more.
Thank you.
I just want to say about this matting, this play safety matting, it does not hold up very well with a huge amount of volume that the school uses it for. These kind of products are not designed for a very high traffic, everyday type of mentality that the school is using. So it's just going to keep on happening even when you replace it. I mean, if you're looking at more of a kind of material that you see like in a basketball court or in a tennis court area, that material, it has a better longevity on it, but the kind of matting they use even like the new park, they just, finished installing, they use the rubber bark mulch type of mentality.
Mhm.
It's designed better, but the problem
the
with
answer.
that is it's not great with, if you have a wheelchair, you know, cause it's bumpy. And this was this kind of material, it was, designed for the fact that if you had a more of a wheelchair mentality. The problem is that it's just not, we live in New England and and even with, the best intentions, these kind of things with high volume and with the weather changes, they just don't do well.
Mm.
I mean, so I don't know if we should look into, if the school should look into other materials that would work and have more of a longevity than putting in possibly the same thing, it's just gonna do it again.
Mhm.
You know, and then with the grassed area, doing something, you know, that would be, like I said, I think it would be better off doing some kind of material that would be similar to a basketball court or you know, like a, asphalt or type of material, or synthetic, than these, safety mattings. They just don't last in New England as well as
Mm.
other, materials. It's our weather. And then the wear and tear with the kids doesn't help. And
Sure.
they do pick at it, and it doesn't,
Yeah.
that doesn't help either.
Oh,
And listen, I grew up, I didn't have a, well, we all, depending on where you went to school, you played on asphalt. I don't remember a lawn in my entire life. I think, in all my years of elementary education at least, but, I think that the design was the design. You know, it passed muster up to a certain point, and at least, the rubbery surface, the grass, I think was, you know, people were certainly worried about the overall cost, although it came in under budget and was done before, the deadline. But I think that, you know, those decisions were made well before, the building was actually done. So again, that's what we're just looking for, different options. That's the cost to replace, at least the rubbery surfaces piece, and then the other part of it would have to be looked at separately. But
And-
again, we have a lot of kids who go through there.
yeah, one other question. Are you also presenting this to Phillipston?
No.
Why not?
We're not, well, we have yet to be asked, quite frankly. So look, I go where I'm asked. And so if I am so asked, and we do send the same information to both towns, it's not like, we don't do that. Again, when we present the budget down there, we generally present everything all at one time. It's a little bit different structure, but, we have reached out to the green community stuff. We have reached out for the, I'm just trying to think, we reach out to both towns whenever we have the same type of needs. So when I'm asked, I will gladly
Who-
present.
Who are you waiting to be asked from? Who should be asking you to go there?
The select board, I would imagine.
The Templeton Select Board or the Phillipston Select
No,
Board?
the Templeton, no, the Phillipston Select Board,
Well,
I don't know.
or whatever their capital improvement group as well. It generally runs through their, finance committee.
okay. All right. Okay, thank you.
So, this directly,
Oh, no, that's
Again.
okay, Dr. Casimir. Does anyone else have any questions, or are we good to continue? Okay, you can continue, Dr. Casimir.
so again, going back to TES, the bottom level of glass, right? The first floor of glass has a specialized film on it, that, if it was to be shot, it doesn't stop the bullet. What it does is it keeps the glass intact. So what it does is it slows down, say, an intruder in a situation where someone is trying to blow their way into the building. Okay. If you've been into the foyer of the school of the TES, there is a simple single pane sliding glass window that the secretaries interact with the public, right? So it's, you come in, you're kind of locked in, you can't enter the school area, but you have access to the secretaries to do quote unquote business. That is just on it's a single pane glass that's a slider glass. And we've presented this before. The Templeton PD, of course, the school district, we feel that it's necessary to install bullet resistant window at the Templeton Elementary School. So just like if you were to go to the police department, right, you have the bulletproof glass, but there's I would say like a indentation that you could send papers through or a pen or whatever it needs to happen, but no one would have access or immediate access to the building through this single pane window. Design flaw, sure. It was not spec'd out to be anything different than it was. It wasn't like it got missed, meaning that there was supposed to be this type of security or window in that area. It was a single pane glass window or slider. And again, the film wouldn't work on that because it's too thin. It's not tempered glass by any stretch. So as the estimated cost is roughly around $7,000, we've updated this quote a few times. And then we'd have to get some, obviously it has to be installed and make sure the weight of the glass can be handled by the counter area that leads into the reception area.
Anyone have any questions for Dr. Kazanat? No? All right, if you want to keep going.
Okay. So we have the bird problem, right? So the police department had the same problem. I believe this was considered last year at the town meeting. Again, it's the same concept. The birds, there are thin, there are grooves, for lack of a better word, for expansion, and birds they've moved from the police station and they've moved into the school. Not into the school, but into these areas where they're nesting. As I've discussed before, the issue or our concern is that once there's birds, there are bats, and then bats are a whole other thing. And so to mitigate that, honestly, it looks a lot like a Brillo pad. For lack of a better word, it goes around to the entire groove. It makes it very uncomfortable for said bird. And so birds look someplace else to nest and to live. Again, it's not as simple as a Brillo pad. If it was, I don't think it'd be 7,000. But in any event, there's different screen options, and so birds bring what they bring. Bats bring a lot more problems, and so we feel this is something that we've been chasing for a bit.
I've sat in the parking lot in the police side and seen it. It's a default. It's default in the building. When they designed it, they left gaps in the building and so they made these gaps, and there's perfect little homes for birds right in those little slots. And they've made their nest there.
Is it, and this is a side question, Dr. Cassavant,
Mhm.
the design flaws that you're discovering, right? Has any of that fed back to whomever the appropriate people are at the state level to go, hey, we've run into this problem, so nobody else runs into it?
Actually, we invited the MSBA out. I think it was 2 years ago now. They offered out to any district that had built, a school, for them to come out, tour the building again, look through everything. It was a very long. It was a process I did not know there was going to be that intense, and it was. That was definitely one of the areas that we hit upon among others. We talked about the lawn. We talked about the surface of the playground. We talked about all the other things too, but also good things as well. That groove, so to speak, needs to be there. Now something should be put in it. I think if they're going to build buildings, they're going to have to, because that's supposed to, it's for expansion during the winter months. It's supposed to be there, but put something there so something can't nest in it. And so that was definitely some of our feedback with the MSBA, who will then feed it back to to all their OPMs and the specs that they want in a school building.
Okay, thank you.
Last but certainly not least was the updated software for the automated building systems management. This had again, we don't have to go into this too deep because we eventually just had to pay it. We had to find the monies to do this because it was running out of time. And we could not let the management system lapse, meaning in terms of the software update. And it was good for, I think it was a 4-year, no, it was 3 years. It was a 3-year, it was going to stay active for 3 years. And so they kind of forced you into making this decision. So given that this software runs our entire HVAC system, which is automated, heat, airflow, all of that, we took care of it just because we just didn't want to chance it that, it wasn't exactly 3 years. It was, 2 years and 363 days or something. And we didn't want the system to go down, and we could not, operate, the system as we needed to do that. But if you don't, does anybody have any questions about that?
No, I don't see any, Dr. Casavan.
Ms. Toth, your question isn't lost on me about Phillipston. Of course, this is a Templeton building. Everyone knows that there are Phillipston students in it. It's certainly not a secret. It's kind of a hard thing to manage on both ends of this. Do I feel that there should be some type of conversation with both towns to talk about just the normal fixes of these things? Yes, I've been very open and very vocal about that. We have a lot of kids in that building. I think everyone should pitch in. That's why I pulled the green repair, not the green repair, I'm sorry, it was the monies for our softball field. I'm forgetting right now what the community preservation, because Mr. Bennett was right. Although we petitioned, Phillipston, we didn't receive any type of answer back. So I pulled the application because they were absolutely right. Why should Templeton, continue to do that? The fact of the matter is that I can't involve myself into this type of conversation. I've got to get some of these things fixed or figured out, because whether I have 500 kids in there or 400 kids in there, these things are going to start wearing and tearing. And I want to make sure that, everything gets taken care of, because we do have kids in there, and they are, in my charge, but it's not lost on me. But going to Phillipston about a capital project on a building that's in Templeton without a conversation happening before, it's hard for me to approach it from that angle.
I understand it. Can I just highly suggest, recommend that the holdup be resolved? Because again, Templeton, yes, it's a Templeton-owned building there, and I won't go into it, but there are reasons why everything is the way it is, and we need to get certain things agreed and signed. And I think that's as far as I can go with that.
Yep. So I just didn't want to think that we're just, being lazy about this, but it would be impossible for me to put a capital project from Templeton to Phillipston, under this environment. So I just didn't want it to let it just hang there like, we're just only coming here. It's, you invited us, and we thank you for your time. We do. And we thank you for your consideration in any of these projects.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Casavan. Yeah, no, that's a much higher order conversation than.
Absolutely.
I just had to ask the question.
Dr. Casavan, one question that I have, and it wasn't on any of the materials that you sent us. I know at the fall town meeting that we are considering the roof update for the middle school and the high school. Is that, I don't remember in the past, have you presented that to Capitol before, or is that, I know that we talked about the roof a little bit.
It was a debt exclusion, potential, however towns plural want to handle that. And so we went just kind of through the basic routine of, it's pretty well spelled out. So no, we did not come through this body. Obviously we went through the Templeton Select Board. In both select boards, we've been through both select boards. Dates are escaping me at this point in time, and the MSBA voted today to, I believe, to move forward. So the clock starts ticking today for us.
The only reason I mention this is because, while yes, anything of that amount ultimately goes through, the board, the select board, and then ultimately the finance committee gets, or the advisory committee gets reviewed because of the warrant. It is a capital. I guess I'd have to ask, why did you have to bring it to the towns? Was it because it was a capital expense of the district to be apportioned?
We have to send it officially to both towns.
Right.
So, because this is the regional, And so it has to go through that mechanism as we have been instructed and told. So, again, it's a bit of a dance in terms of how we have to do it and what we have to do first. Capital improvement was not on the list. It was more about making sure that there was a meeting to get before the people to at least approve or give the option to approve or not approve at a town meeting, and then of course, have a vote. And so that was the advice that I received not only from the state or the MSBA, but when we went through this in terms of what had to happen when, this is the information this is how we were told to move forward.
No, and I understand that, Dr. Casavan. My only caveat to that is that for any items that would be a capital expense to the town, and a roof is reasonably a capital expense, because you're not, nobody would ideally be looking to go for a roof every, 5 years, let alone
Right.
10 or 20 years. So that would be a capital expense with the useful life of more than 5 years. Part of Templeton's bylaws are that any appropriations or a vote is made on them have to go through this committee first to at least be presented. The only reason I bring it up is because we are on a time crunch with the November 12th meeting coming up, and you were in front of us today. Is there anything that you can speak to this committee about in terms of that? I hate to put you on the spot, but it was not lost on me when this meeting came up. I had just thought about it a few moments before.
Well, to give you the thumbnail, kind of sketch of what we've talked about over the last, I guess, couple of weeks, is that there are many sections of the roof that are failed. They're over 25 years. A portion of the middle school roof and the entirety of the high school roof. There are 35 areas which are currently leaking, which are leaking onto structural beams, etc. They are not compromised, but over time they most certainly will. We have pooling on the roof. It's water that obviously that is, when it's raining, it's supposed to be gone within a certain amount of time. It's staying there for almost twice or three times as long. There's a lot of issues with the brickwork. The flashing is either non-existent or incorrectly put on in many areas, so they know that the insulation is getting wet. So there it is. The MSBA, when they looked at all of this, they said, "Yep, your roof or major portions of your roof need to be replaced." In the end, they quoted a $10.8 million for the roof itself. It's with 59% reimbursement from the MSBA. Of course, that breaks down 85-15, Templeton, Phillipston. Although, again, no one thinks it's going to, but you have to borrow or have the ability to borrow the full amount, regardless if it comes in millions and millions of dollars, lower than that. That's just the MSBA. It happened for the school building. Again, that's just off the top of my head. I'm sure that there are questions, but it might be easier if you just ask me, and I'll try to muddle through them without my information in front of me.
That's okay. I know that there's been a presentation in front of the selectmen already about this, but does any member of this committee have any specific questions about that?
What happens if only one town approves it?
It fails.
And we
Then we don't. The project doesn't move forward. So the town meetings obviously were the special town meetings are where they start. So, we're a two-member town. So if one town votes yes, to put it to ultimately a ballot vote, and one town votes no, then the project is done. There's no chance for it's over in a sense.
Goes to the town floors for both towns, and then has to go to an election for both towns, correct?
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Has to pass in both towns, in both forms.
And you, I may have misunderstood you earlier. You said that the timeline starts with the
190 days.
MSBA
Massachusetts School Building Authority, is that what you had said,
Building
Dr.?
Authority,
Yes,
B.
ma'am.
Okay. And so is there a timeline where we have to have everything done by? Because, like right now. we have
90 days from today.
90 days from today to get approvals in both towns.
To
For
get
town meeting and
approvals.
for ballot.
Yes. Everything will have to be done by call it February, mid-January, early February.
And have you heard anything if, I mean, is Phillipston have a meeting scheduled yet or this on their books anywhere? I haven't seen anything.
So what's going to happen is we have a school committee that's coming up to approve moving forward, because that has to happen first. And at that point, Phillipston will schedule the meeting. We'll appoint the meeting, the date. So it's going to happen. We had talked to them earlier, early December. So the meeting will happen, let me give or take, right? Early December for Phillipston. And then we're going to have to work very quickly then to, provide an
So-
opportunity for a ballot vote.
So the town of Templeton's on the 12th of November, we'll be voting on the floor first, and then we'll have to put in an election. From
Then
there.
we'll hold, right? Then, because I go to Phillipston will happen the first couple of weeks of December.
Right,
Thinking positively, they vote yes at the, majority
Yeah.
votes yes in Phillipston. Then we will then arrange voting for both towns.
okay. Is it, I don't know if we can talk about it. The voting costs money to the taxpayers, so
Yeah, that would be, I would,
we'll
I
help with
would,
that, right?
yeah, I would order that's above and beyond the conversation
Okay,
of the
just-
committee, because that,
Yes, I wasn't
right,
sure.
because the choice of what to put on the warrant is the selectmen's, and they have decided
Yes.
to put this as a debt exclusion. Phillipston may choose to do it a completely different way. They have every right to do so on their town meeting warrant.
Yeah.
And it's the method by which they select that creates the criteria for approval. In the case of a debt exclusion under Proposition 2.5, that is that is a town meeting vote and then a subsequent ballot question. So that's why you have the two steps, but
But
basically,
having,
we're talking about
right,
town has to approve.
right,
at the end of the day.
and anything that we have in our town, our bylaw says it has to go through capital.
Right,
Over
any
capital.
appropriation that has useful life more than 5 years.
Right.
And I will assume that we're going to accept this as having gone through capital with his conversations.
So what I was gonna bring up with this conversation is that, the reason why I brought this up is because Dr. Kesavant was here. If he could please provide, were there materials that were sent out to the selectmen or to the towns,
Yep.
beforehand? Okay, if you could just share
Yes.
that with me and I can distribute this to the committee, because what we will have to do, because we're doing a town meeting vote on it now, is in all cautiousness, we should talk next meeting, and we might need to do a supplemental report for fiscal year 2026. Because this is happening right now, so.
Okay.
And that's.
Not that there was
beyond-
confusion. We were
Right,
we're following the MSBA instructions, and because it was a district building,
Chris,
it kind of, I will use the word superseded. I don't know what word to actually use, but it kind of goes around some of the, what I would say, local requirements, and that's how they've explained it. Not just with this, but in some other areas too, right? Because it's the district's building.
but if we vote on the floor, as a town, we have,
that's a higher order question.
Yeah.
Yep, not here.
Okay, well, thank you, Dr. Kazmi. If you could please get me, ideally before next Monday, those materials, just because we will be meeting next Wednesday again.
We'll send them ASAP.
Okay,
tomorrow morning.
thank you.
You bet. Thank you for your time, everyone.
thank you.
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Mm,
so with that being said, we are back to item number 2 on the review and approval of the meeting minutes. I guess we'll start back at the top on the Wednesday, September 17th, 2025 minutes. Does anybody have any more comments on the meeting minutes? Does anybody have any thoughts on the minutes?
Other than maybe the things that you had said, and maybe no, I don't know what you call them, emojis or something.
Well, somebody you had talked about that, but, I mean, that's just presentation over form. I mean, it doesn't.
I can take them off.
I just
It's
said
not
they
big.
go like, I just feel like it's government, I just feel like,
Okay.
sorry.
Because the only suggestions that I had made would be to correcting on the FY 26, where it says FY 26 capital improvement plan, to basically put that it's just The two documents were a summary sheet of what had happened at the last two town meetings since this committee had done its report. And then that I had done pages 13 through 19 of the FY 26 report. What were included, those were two separate items, although it all kind of flowed together.
Yeah.
So that's really it. I mean, I had some more technical corrections.
Okay.
If,
Did I miss something?
Yeah, I don't know.
what do you mean, did we miss some?
No, no, you said technical.
Good
sorry.
No. Oh, I just meant technical meaning like technical as in the documents. Other than that, does anybody have any other thoughts, comments, or concerns? Does it should concern with the motion?
Yeah, I've got to get better, tell them stay on stuff.
Steve.
Yeah, I've had lots of.
Excuse me.
Okay. Oh,
Excuse me.
excuse us.
Sorry.
Sorry, we are, yeah,
Excuse me, my bad.
all right. So with
Have a
that,
good night, folks.
all right, have a good night. So with that, so you had made a motion to do these as amended?
Yes, as
We talked
amended, yeah.
about with the amendment to the document section. Okay, does anyone want to make a
That's fine.
second on it? Okay, you'll second it, all right. So you have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the meeting minutes of September 17th, 2025?
No.
No?
No.
All right, with that, we'll go to a vote. How do you vote, Danielle?
Yes.
Elizabeth?
Yes.
Candace?
Yes.
I'll vote yes as well. So that passes 4-0. All right, and then on the meeting minutes of October 22nd, has everyone had a chance to really look through them?
Yeah, I just have the same thing to say about these as the others. With
No.
that amendment.
No copy, no pictures.
No
pictures,
pictures.
okay.
No pictures, all right, no pictures, and the other thing I'll do with both of these
Okay.
sets is on the, you really didn't vote till the,
Yeah, so I was gonna say, there's actually a couple of amendments that I wanted to suggest. So on adjournment, where it says no formal vote required, there was a vote.
Yeah,
I can tell
yeah,
you,
I'll fix that.
vote was, because I have my notes from last time,
Yeah.
you had motioned, Candace had seconded, it was unanimous and it passed at 5:19 PM. And then the only other thing that I want, well, one of the two other things that I have, on the review of the capital draft report, it says item number 4. I would just put, that it was for a prior year in review section, so instead of town meeting action sections, just rename that to prior year in review, because that matches up with the agenda.
Okay.
And the only other, and then my final amendment and
Wait, you said town meeting, not town meeting, you said prior year
in review.
in review. Okay,
So
got
that
it.
matches up with the agenda, and then, fixing the adjournment section, and then on the FY 26 capital plan.
Mhm.
So I didn't include a copy of the FY 26 capital plan. What I would suggest that it be named is like draft. You keep it like that with the pages 3 to 4, but it's prior year in review. Plus, I had last minute done my own updates to it, so that should be noted on it that I passed out an additional document that evening.
Prior year in review, so get rid of the draft capital,
Yeah,
get rid of that. Pages 3 to 4, and, right, not, it is prior year review, and
and then just put that I had also done updated pages so that they were separate from it, if you remember what I had passed out, yeah. Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
No,
Does anyone have any concerns or not understand what I just read out?
do you have anything else? Are you good?
Nope, if everyone thinks that what's contained in the minutes is fine, then
Yeah,
we can
I'll just make
proceed.
a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Okay.
What date was that again? Let's say that.
For October 22nd, 2025, you making a
Yeah,
motion on that?
Yes,
As
October
amended.
22nd.
Okay, does anyone want to second that motion?
Second.
Danielle seconded the motion. Is there any further discussion on the meeting minutes of October 22nd, 2025? No? Okay, we're gonna go to a vote. How do you vote, Liz?
yes.
Yes, all right, Danielle,
Yes.
Candace,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well, that passed 4-0. All right. So with that, we are at committee member comments. Does anyone have any comments for this evening?
No.
No?
Just have happy Halloween,
Yes, Halloween is on Friday.
correct?
Yeah.
Trick or treats 5 to 7.
Danielle? Okay, so the only comments that I will have is, at our next meeting, community services was rescheduled, so you will see them. You are going to see, like I talked about, we're gonna have to talk about doing a supplemental report. I will have that prepared and I'll have a draft ready so that we can see what we, will be working with as we form our opinion on that. And then the only thing I can think of beyond that is, I had heard back from James on his meetings, plus we had seen what the selectmen had voted for their schedule. So I will look at that and I will send out what the adjusted meeting date for December will be in the next coming days. So, other than that, I can't think of anything else to update the committee about. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
A second, I accept it, whatever, I do it.
Are you
I
going-
move it.
Okay, you move
I
it.
said-
All right. Is anyone
Second.
going to second the motion?
Second, there you go.
Okay. We have a motion made and seconded to adjourn. The motion to adjourn is non-debatable. How do you vote, Elizabeth?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Candace?
I say, yeah.
And I vote yes as well. That passed at 6:20.